Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. Dogboat333, and we're back to Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich as Poland. Now, last video we had our elections. The Central Louvre had ascended. We have a new president of whatchamacallit. I forget what we're it's actually titled. Stanislaw Dubois. The great-grandson of an officer of the Napoleonic army and son of a lawyer. His political awakening came in 1918 when Norbert Barlicki held a speech demanding free elections in the Kingdom of Poland, condemning the Treaty of Brest. Already a radical student in Barlicki's tutorship, Dubois adopted radically socialist views, though unlike his mentor, Dubois hardly moderated with age. He became an organizer and activist of the PPS, and was appointed an editor of Poland's most popular political magazine, Robotnik, in the late 1920s. During his editorship, the Robotnik was often censored for its uncompromising critique towards the monarchy's elites. While his mentor Barlicki became the leader of the party's moderates, Dubois radicalized in the other direction, continuously pushing for a more uncompromising stance, building contacts with far left and radical Republicans. During the 38 Revolution, Dubois was the leading figure in organizing the general strike and became a de facto leader of the uprising in Warsaw. Now appointed as prime minister, Dubois is finally in position to ensure that Poland never slips into authoritarianism. Well, there we go. Right now we're working on shackling the Senate. We can't cancel his focus, I noticed, so that makes me think some shit might potentially go down. The fall of Beijing. Very interesting. Free military factories. Let's get working towards... Do we need anything? I don't think we do. But I do know we have a new land doctrine. So that's probably something we want to get working on. I mean, we can't go wrong with superior firepower, I think. Well, maybe we can, but maybe we are going wrong by doing superior firepower. That's all beyond my pay grade. Socialists seem to be doing very well. They're taking out the INR decently well. Władysław Studnicki is a very divisive figure. As a founding father of modern Polish state, but also the main figure rationalizing the pro-German tendency of Polish politics after 1914. In Studnicki's many literary works and long tenure as a senator, he's always called for cooperation with Germany against the Russian menace. In his latest book, Facing the Oncoming Second World War, his outlook is grim. He argues that Central European hegemony is outside Germany was challenged by both the rising Russian expansionism and the Judeo-syndicalist states of the West. On the brink of war, there must be no discord in the alliance of civilized people, or Russia will destroy the Polish nation again, this time completely. In Studnicki's mind, Central Europe can form a superpower of 200 million people, with Germany and Poland as its driving core, able to stand up against the foreign powers who would seek to subjugate them. Ominous words. We could renegotiate the economic treaties right now. I'm honestly tempted to. Russian Empire versus Finland. Already not a good start for old Suomi. Let's get... It doesn't matter which one we do, actually, so let's build one of Yavids. Or however you say it. Oop, people are pushing into Finland. There we go. Our ambitious legislation, passed with a strong majority in the lower house of the Sejm, is meant to crush the anti-democratic strongholds that have for too long suppressed the common man's rights in Poland. But even with the strong mandate from the people, the Russian tyrant on the throne has dared to openly move against us. We've counted on the king's tolerance towards liberalism, usual inaction in day-to-day politics, but it seems that his reactionary puppet master in the Privy Council will persuade August IV to stand against us. With his hated veto power, the king has single-handedly crushed the legislation that was accepted with an overwhelming majority in the Sejm. With this widely undemocratic move, it's become clear that Stanislaw Dubois no longer enjoys the trust of his majesty and should resign. Let us see who they can conjure up as leader, when the Central who has so great a majority. Less than the mere threat is enough to make the king reconsider. Threaten him with resignation. Uh-oh. Gamble by Stanislaw Dubois' cabinet did not work. August 4th refrained from any further comments and would not withdraw his veto. In a parliamentary standstill, the Prime Minister finally offered the resignation to the King, which was promptly accepted. Faith in the Central Louvre's ability to reform the system from inside has seriously plummeted, even among the moderates. Well, the already radical socialists and agrarians have started organizing protests everywhere in the country. The kingdom is thrown into a precarious position with no majority government in sight, and large parties all but in revolt against the crown. All tyrants fall eventually. Well, fuck. Shit. Well, let's do the Center for Higher Military Studies. That's actually something we should have done a little bit earlier. While initiative and natural skills have traditionally been everything good officers need, the increasingly complex nature of modern warfare will rely on men capable of understanding things which one cannot simply learn on the job. To do this, we will establish a new military think tank capable of enhancing and furthering understanding of modern military tactics and strategy among our officers. In the absence of a responsible government coalition, the king has appointed Czeslaw Synicki from the statehood party as president of ministers. Synicki's government does not enjoy a majority of assent, but is supported by enough independent members to be able to pass legislation. And should come to it, they will have a king's executive power behind them. Synicki's ardent spokesman for deeper cooperation with Germany is often reminded in the Sem of the importance of collaboration with Berlin, and as the only one and only way to safeguard the continued existence of the Polish state. Pray to God he'll keep the nation in line. Well, that's kind of shitty. Well, so much for that, huh? That was not very cash money. In the aftermath of the economic depression, many German businesses withdrew from Poland, and many of these industries were later nationalized by the government. Despite their costs, the statist policies enacted have moved much of the Polish economy into the control of the state. The Polish conglomerates such as Lewiaden, I don't know how to pronounce that, but it was worth a shot. The reintroduction of Zloty and other high-profile nationalizations have further strengthened Poland's financial position. Even Berlin recognized the massive shift in Poland and are renegotiations of German-Polish trade agreements and accepted it as a fait accompli. After all, an economically prospering Poland is to their advantage in any case, even if many German corporations lost much of their investment in there. But that story is hardly unique to Poland. Finally, Poland is broken free from its economic bondage, and the worst is behind us. The Sublime Ottoman Federation, very nice. Gotta play the Ottomans one of these days. It will be fun. National Socialist Party was formed in 1936 by a faction of National Workers' Party, one of that guy's member parties. Its leader, Kazimierz Dagnan, represented the radical wing of the party. Since Black Monday hit Poland, they have started surging popularity with her populist, anti-capitalist, and anti-monarchist rhetoric. In Dagnan's manifesto, he declares his party to be a continuation of a National Socialist municipality exiled in France in the 19th century, and the work of Adam Mickiewicz, adopting socialism to be all human one day should become national in the first place, as their model. They declared a strong anti-German stance, opposing further German and Austrian influence over the economy and politics. Their main goal is victory over greedy capitalism, represented mainly by foreign interests. PNS also advocates for the indivisible rule of the Polish working class that will be fulfilled by agrarian reform, nationalization of big industries, and parliamentary democracy. They are tolerant towards other Slavic nations and minorities, and propose a united bloc of Slavic states. In geopolitical terms, they want to create a common union of national socialist republics, where cultural and economic cooperation will be in harmony while keeping national and political independence. Nationalists? Socialist? Democrat? I'm lost. Let's see, 49. I don't think... Well, we might be able to rush down and get... entrenched constitutionalism. These guys... That's depending on Germany. Did Germany do reform until Europa? Is it something they have to choose? They have not reformed Middle Europa yet, so we're kind of just crossing our fingers and hoping that they do it. I think instead, plan has worked down this. We'll do Marozek's self-loading rifles. An engineer named Josef Marozek has come to the new military institute with an interesting demonstration, a personal design which he has been refining for a number of years, for a rifle which will be far easier to operate than current bolt-action rifles. Being capable of firing any time the trigger is pulled, provided as ammunition, of course. This design quickly attracted the support of the institute and has become one of the first projects approved for further funding. Full of Batavia. Interesting. Insulindia is ruling. We'll develop the auto industry and get a little bit of infrastructure. Oh, Insulinda is joining the Co-Prosperity Sphere. Sukarno emerging. Do recon company 2s. After the Great War, a deeply traumatized generation poured themselves into new styles of art. Old Romanticism influenced movements became obsolete in the world where millions upon millions of young men had died in seemingly pointless bloodshed. Even in Germany, where government officials were often restrictive towards avant-garde styles, a new modernism bloomed. To modernists like the Neues-Bauen movement in Germany, the brutalists in France, and the Polish constructivism. What is wanted is a world of steel and glass, mass-produced and functional. The bold modernism of people like Vladislav Strzelecki and Tamara Lempicka has been divisive and often portrayed as very left-wing, and not without reason. Many avant-garde artists are critical towards the monarchy and the old order, which they see as uncreative and stuck in the past. When talking of art in Poland, one cannot ignore the royal couple's artistic style. Ironically, August is allied with a neo-romanticist and folk artist in Poland who seeks to strengthen Polish national identity, with art and themes stemming from Poland's history, and its countryside. August's later works are influenced much by symbolism, even folkish ideas, portraying pure, untainted, and natural subjects. The king's most recent work is Donna Leninowska, a quite simple landscape piece portraying the Svitokryski Mountains. It is seen as conservative and bland by many famous artists, though the reception has been better on the right. Okay, can we get back to politics? How's it going over here? It's interesting. Qing is getting pushed from the north and the south. The Guangzhou government is prevailing. Warsaw not seem such such protest after 1907. In the capital alone, there were tens of thousands of people gathered. The old center of Warsaw was filled with flags, with clovers and roses, as a symbol of a brotherhood between the peasants and the workers. The core of movement. The movement. The mounted police were uneasily following the floods of people as they gathered around the royal palace and various other government buildings, shouting slogans against the king and his corrupt government. In the fashion of a revolution of 1905, a general strike was announced to begin the very next day. King Isaac IV did not make an appearance to protesters as his council was pleaded for caution. Surrounding the palace and in the numerous garrisons, the Germans in power realized for the first time just how few they were in number. And as the Central protest movement spread from the capital like wildfire, they could only hope for a peaceful solution to the wave of discontent. Mobilize the police. Secure the capital. Let's build an artillery factory. It is said that every Polish generation has a revolution. For this generation will be 1938 Clover Revolution, already dubbed the Clover Revolution after PSL's clover symbols, which are now flown in nearly every Polish village and city. The entire nation has come to a standstill. The general strike has frozen in the cities, and the peasants are arranging marches all around the nation. Some are using the unrest as a pretext for looting and destroying Jewish properties, but for the most part, the protesters have been peaceful, which will make our position even more difficult. Should we fight against them? Any popular support would be beyond recovery. Various plans have been drafted by the king and the military, but no one is very hopeful. The Privy Council is urging the king to leave the palace, which has been surrounded by protesters for days. Some are calling for the use of military force, but August has been hesitant to take such harsh measures. Due to the king's inaction, General von Kreis has put a plan in motion and called for Guderian's armored regiment to secure the capital with reinforcements from Jaruzelski's division. The troops should be loyal to the king and can be trusted, but such a small force could easily be overwhelmed in Warsaw's narrow streets. General Babecki, one of our most trusted Polish generals, has suggested to the king that he declare a state of emergency and mobilize as many troops as needed to keep the peace. Tricky. I don't know what to do here. We'll have Guderian's unit secure the capital, or will he? Better anti-air, I guess. SRI is going after the two Sicilies. Am I gonna want to work? Do we want to get working on tanks? I don't know. We'll work on some tank stuff. Artillery modernization, reduction of production costs for towed artillery. That sounds pretty good. Artillery has proven to be one of the greatest deciders of modern war, and the innovations seen during the Great War thoroughly reshaped the field of artillery research. 20 years on, however, artillery equipment and training are beginning to seem outdated, and there's been fresh interest in beginning a modernization of artillery corps, outfitting them with better guns and training them on modern calculations and ranging. When tanks rolled into the suburbs of Warsaw, the first feeling among the people was disbelief. Was the king ready to go this far to scare them? Was he really parading his precious war machines on the street of the capital? Confusion quickly turned into fear, as the military police and German reinforcements were deployed in great numbers to clear the main part of the city of protesters. Many were turned away with the barrel of a gun or a bayonet. At first it looked like it could work. Both the protesters and soldiers were told to avoid violence as much as possible. When the units of the Black Division arrived to free the palace, the crowd, led by ex-visionary Stanislaw Dubois, radical socialist and agitator, refused to budge. When the protesters started storming, the soldiers approaching with bayonets, Guderian finally ordered the use of live ammunition. Despite protests from Polish colleagues, the rifles sang. Men and women fell to the streets, but instead of routing, they stood their ground, and the previous pacifistic action turned to a chaotic melee. The German reinforcements the royals had received did not hesitate to act. Machine guns were fired from the top of the tank. When the hour was over, dozens of dead littered the main streets. After securing the palace, the king's units started methodically combing through the streets of Warsaw. The capital was the king's once again. Enact martial law and arrange the firing squads. Ouch. In the early morning, motorized units of the 3rd Army Corps crossed the border near Kalisz as another Army Corps crossed the border into the north and advancing with formations of the Lithuanian Army towards Warsaw. In the east, Ukrainian Belarusian forces have advanced to the suburbs of Lublin. The German foreign minister has explained that the lawful royalist government of Poland has asked its allies in the Reichspakt to support Polish law enforcement in suppressing the French-sponsored syndicalist uprising that has seized control of much of a nation. On the ground, the situation is quite different, everyone knows it. There have been multiple firefights between Reichspakt forces and Polish units, and the bloodshed is expected to get worse as Germans close in on Warsaw. Many soldiers have joined the revolutionary government, and improvised Red Guards have begun to have sprung in Warsaw and Lodz to defend the revolution. There is much to be desired, however, as the majority of Polish army is confined to their barracks away from the cities, thanks to the officer corps deeply distrustful of a socialist power grab in the capital. The revolution was smashed to pieces in mere days. Bitter fighting in the suburbs of Warsaw had not yet been quelled, when King August IV announced that the revolutionaries had been suppressed and that law and order had been restored to the nation. Thousands lay dead, as those involved in the revolution are rounded up and shot or imprisoned. Yet another Polish uprising is crushed. Jesus, manpower. Oh. The right to the freedom of association, suspended. The right to freedom of peaceful assembly, suspended. The right to legal protection, suspended. The right to not lose Polish citizenship, suspended. On and on the constitutional suspensions go, as the liberties of the Poles are taken away for the good of the kingdom. The parliament is eerily silent as over half of delegates are either in prison or hiding, leaving only the circle and their allies with the rights to make decisions. And what they have done in the aftermath of the Crushed Revolution is nothing but a dictatorship, kept loyal to the threat of an ever-German military invasion. So dies the dream of Polish liberty. Oh no. Oh Jesus. Ugh. Following the Central Loose mass protests in Poland against the widely unpopular German monarchy, August IV authorized a plan to crush the protesters by sending Heinz-Gehring's armored unit into the capital. What follows nothing short of massacre, with thousands dead as the protest leaders were either imprisoned or shot. While several constitutional liberties suspended, August IV and his allies, consolidated near absolute power in Poland, kept loyal with the threat of another German military invasion. Germany consolidated its grip over Europe. I did not mean for that to happen. The uprising was not only a peasant riot, as it added support among Polish soldiers, including some of the most decorated officers in the Royal Army. Many of the men, General Sosnowski chief among them, were associates of Josip Pilsudski just 2 decades ago, and seemingly had not abandoned his futile struggle against so-called German oppression. These men had a chance to show their loyalty to the Kingdom of Poland and its people, but they have squandered it, and embarked on revolutionary plotting. Or might have. Today, Demokwa is leading nothing to chance. Pilsudski's associates have to go, both the officers and the politicians, and only Poland. Then Poland can truly be safe and secure. The ones responsible have to retire. Oh, jeez. This is not what I had planned at all. Shit. I'm gonna load the save real quick. We'll see if we can change things. That's not enough. Mobilize more units to keep the order. Do the Socialists have a new flag? They have a new flag. I like it. Our decision to mobilize additional army units proved to be catastrophic. Faced with the possibility of being ordered to shoot their countrymen, thousands of Poles flat out refused their orders. This reason does not change, depending on the ranks either. Men as high as generals refused to take the king's orders, or simply ignore them. It's clear that a large part of the army has turned against us, making the situation even more precarious. The king is now stuck in the middle of an uprising with constantly emboldening demands: resignation of government, the abdication of the king, the cessation of German military presence, an endless list of social and political reforms, and the revolutionaries hold all the cards. The traitors. We'll go back to that. I think that was the original plan. The manifesto was clear. From now on, Poland would be a republic led solely by the Polish people, and not a foreign autocrat. In the end, that was the one demand that mattered. The king's advisors were furious, as was to be expected. August was advised to ask his father for help, and was told to stall and strike a compromise. But in an atypical moment of decisiveness, August Wilhelm denied them all. "I do not wish to rule over the people who prefer to see me gone," he earnestly explained. Perhaps it was simply surrendered to his fate, completely hopelessness, or a surprising moment of more fiber, but King August IV gave up the throne. As the nation silent to listen to the king's historic radio address, thousands of people rejoiced. They had won, and not required countless deaths. The final shouts of "Long live the king" were heard across Warsaw as the king signed his abdication. Left without purpose, his cabinet followed suit soon after. The global revolution had succeeded, but they could have essentially achieved their dream. Liberty at last. Well, we did it. Special session of Assem was called as soon as possible. The nation was returning to normalcy, or at least as much as it could. So was the absence of Parliament, with one notable exception. Most delegates from Circle were absent, either because of boycott or because of fear. They were not missed either, as their absence made the central of the undisputed rule of Assem. Nor Barlicki was arranged to be elected as provisional president until a proper election could be arranged. The more thorny question was that of the Constitution. Even though the Assem had elected to abolish the monarchy with an overwhelming majority, Conservative Party still held a good third of the seats, and the Senate, the centralist majority, was even thinner. The planned constitution, after the People's Republic of Belarus, faced fierce resistance from the right and could not be passed as it required at least a two-thirds majority as per the current constitution. After lengthy debates, many parts of it were defanged. Neither abolition of Senate nor official secularization could be turned into law, though despite some bitter compromises, many of centralist ideas came to pass. New People's Republic would abolish censorship and guarantee equal rights to everyone. Democratic elections for Assem would be held every 3 years, and it would hold the supreme power. The Senate would act only as an advisory body that could send laws back to the Assem but not ban them entirely. The president would be elected by the Assem for the term of 5 years, but his powers would be greatly reduced from the executive tyranny of the kingdom. The Liberal coalition had hopes to eventually enact more radical policies, but does not seem to be possible with current Assem. Instead, a government must be formed to steer the republic, and maybe eventually solidify the free and equal Poland for the first time after the partitions. Prime Minister will be... I think we'll go with Dubois, the hero of the revolution. Well, I did not expect this to happen. Oh, Jesus. The revolution did not satisfy everyone. The Central Alliance stands victorious and the monarchies are firmly rooted, but challenges persist from both sides of the political spectrum. The social scheme of the bourgeois revolution did not go far enough, they merely changed one oppressor for another. However, many of the supporters can still be appeased with social democratic policies. On the other hand, the nationalists are the greatest opponent to our new republic. Anti-socialist and anti-liberal, these two republics are morally corrupt and dangerously weak. They always remain a threat to us, but some of their supporters may be satiated with policies favoring the peasantry. We'll click that, I guess. Man, a lot happened this video. I gotta say. I think we'll stop modernizing the artillery. And we'll get back to that, I guess. And yeah, I gotta end it there, folks. I mean, I gotta get ready to go. Because it is... Well, it's not snowing anymore, actually, but... I gotta head down to my college town for school. So, I gotta bounce. But... I mean, it looks a little sketchy for us, I'm not gonna lie, but... we can hopefully figure something out. Whether the People's Republic will prevail or not is to be determined. But for now, we're free. Sometimes that's all that matters. So yeah, I'm out for now. Thanks for always watching, gang. Like if you liked, dislike if you didn't. Leaving comments down in the comment section below. I read all comments, get appreciated on feedback you might have for me. Hit the sub button if you want to keep it up with uploads. Check out those links down in the description box below. That's it for now, gang. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.